Intertalk Radio, you're in to all things music.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Happy Friday, everybody. You are right here back with May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I'm Scott, your host, and a man who watched his son graduate from high school last night. Yes, it's all about our celebration. I apologize. But we are still on a tremendous high from that moment, and we're just going to carry that all through the weekend. It's just going to be an entire weekend of, graduation celebration. And back at the booth celebrating in his own way, always, is Paul B. How's it going in Intertalk Central today, Paul?
Pretty good. So that's why you're so happy and zippity today.
Oh man, I'll tell you, it was awesome. It was awesome. It's just it's an important milestone. But as a parent, it's my first kid that's graduated from high school, and you
must be doing something right.
You just have this finish line feel. It's not a finish line by any stretch of the imagination,
right?
But you feel that way. You feel like that hey, that this section is finished.
Nice. Congratulations.
Well, thanks very much. We're very happy. We're very happy. So anyway, that's what's going on in my world. What's going on in your world, Paul? You playing this weekend? What are you doing?
No, I'm going to be playing in a couple of weeks. I joined a new cover band. Just in the process of just learning a ton of songs, trying to get it down. I should be playing out in a couple of weeks.
Never be afraid to play Brown Eyed Girl, man.
No.
Brown Eyed Girl,
it
works all the time.
Sure.
It's great. I had a dude, just on a side, because I play in a cover band myself, and I had a guy, a club owner, and he came up and he said, could you guys just not play Brown Eyed Girl? And so we were like, yeah, man, you're the boss, man. We don't have to play Brown Eyed Girl. That's funny because I'm just so sick of hearing it. I'm just going to blow my own brains out. I'm like, yeah, I go, there isn't a musician that's been doing this for any length of time that's like, what's really going to complete me today?
Brown Eyed Girl.
Doing Brown Eyed Girl one more time. That's really going to do it. But the reason we do it is, what's so funny is we played that show, and then this crazy group of drunk girls comes and goes, can you guys play Brown Eyed Girl? So I got on the microphone and I said, I'm going to need permission to play Brown Eyed Girl from management. And then I looked over and then of course the entire crowd's all their heads turned at once to the manager who's standing back there, and he's like, yeah, go ahead and play it.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Objection, Your Honor. But you know what? The song works. It fills the dance floor, and you know what? You're there when you're playing in a cover band. You're there to keep people there so they will stay drinking there and entertain them there. You're in the booze selling business, and so whatever
doing the Lord's work.
There you go. Whatever helps them sell the booze. That's what I say. Well, if you have a question for me out there in radio podcasting land, you can always email me at scott@robertsoncom.com. And as you know, I will answer. I'm unafraid to answer anything right on this show, even things that are not politically correct. I'm not a politically correct person in any shape of the word. If you listen to my show at all, you know that I just tell you what I perceive to be the truth and sort of let the chips fall where they may, which is sort of un-PR person, marketing person like. I think that's how my clients like me. But you can find my posts, my client news clips, and other tidbits on my Robertson.com Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/RobertsonCom with 2 M's, or Twitter @RobertsonCom, also 2 M's. Reach out and connect with me. Get to know me, as John Lovitz used to say. You'll be entertained, and I can give you a few tips, too. You're here on the program, so you already made a good decision. Today, we are talking about social business. I call this is episode 54, if you're keeping score at home. And this is called, It's Just Social Business. Social media is it's a custom designed network of feeds and posts that we created to kind of stroke our own egos in various ways. And really the last thing that you want to see there is something about anyone else but you, especially something that is trying to do business with you and get you away from the important work of you and your friends talking about you. As obvious as this is to a lot of people, and this is reality, many brands still really struggle with what their role should be on social media. And, as they try to kind of create a business model and ROI and all these things, and they try to do this in an environment that is essentially a narcissistic groundswell of social networks. So can you make money on it? Should you try to make money on it? We're going to tackle some of these important questions. And of course, we're always going to check in with who's winning and losing this week in marketing. But we're going to talk about the idea of doing business on social media. A fun topic, to be sure. And certainly lots of opinions on the subject. I'm going to give you mine because, I have it and it's me. So, first of all, what I always tell any client that's going to talk about social media is the first two letters of media are M and E, and that should be capitalized because social media is all about me. It is and this is the piece of wisdom that you never want to lose sight of. This is designed 100%, and it's pointing back at you, and it is an environment where you let in the people that you want to let in, you block the people that you want to block, you look at the things that interest you, and you shut down the things that don't interest you. It is completely customizable and locked in. A lot of marketers seem to think that everybody looks at the same social media feeds. They do not. I encourage you, if you're a marketer and social media is your assignment, you need to look at other people's feeds. Do not judge the world by your feed. It does not look the same. People's feeds look like them, to be honest. If somebody will show you their social feed, and we're kind of protective of them, but if somebody will let you look over their shoulder and see theirs, you'll see that it's them. If you look at mine, you see you see a lot of news. I'm in the news business, right? So I follow a lot of news. So I can bring you this show, so I can stay on top of things for my client. It's really important. It's really, really important. But you need to understand that. I've seen so many people, smart people in rooms, stand up and say, well, on my social feed, it's this, and so I assume everybody else is looking at the same thing. Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson said, when you make an assumption, you make an ass out of you and umption. Well, you just did. Don't make an assumption that somebody's social feed looks in any way, shape, or form like you. It's an algorithm. It's a mathematical algorithm created by the conglomeration of things that you have liked, shared, posted. It's extremely complex. It's a great deal more complex than most people think it is, to be honest. It has machine language. It has artificial intelligence that is learning things about you. And yeah, you're starting to get kind of creeped out. You should. Believe me, that spider sense feeling that you're feeling about social media, you should be creeped out. There is a lot of very creepy / invasive stuff going on at the programming level that honestly you probably would just rather not know that's happening. I would. I'd rather not know. But let's talk about how social media started. Around the turn of this century, social media was really, in its infancy, if anywhere. Facebook, of course, you've seen the movie, you've read the book, but social media is really a larger trend that there was a book that was written in the early part of this century called it's called Groundswell, and it was written by Charlene Lee and Josh Bernoff, both at that time for Forrester Research, although Charlene Lee works in her own consultancy these days. And it basically, let me just read a little piece on this. So right now, your customers are writing, this is from the early part of the century here. So right now, your customers are writing about your products on blogs, recutting your commercials on YouTubes. They're defining you on Wikipedia and ganging up on you in social networking sites like Facebook. These are elements of a social phenomenon, the groundswell, that has created a permanent shift in the way the world works. Most companies see it as a threat. Now, they were one of the first people to identify social media as a trend, but the trend comes from someplace where they discuss in the book at length, and it's trust. Trust. Something had happened to trust that forced the creation of this new phenomenon. And that is that trust in the institutions of our society, organized religion, the political system, and business had all fallen to record lows. So human beings need to hang on to something. We need to hang on to a rock somewhere. For some people, it's faith. For some people, it is, I need to believe I live in the greatest country in the world and I believe in the government. But if you start to lose all trust in all of those major institutions of society, you as a people have nowhere left to trust, no one left to trust. And social media gave rise because you could trust people who you believed were close to you, and you could talk directly to them, and you could, have a digital conversation. Technology made it possible for you to sort of let them in, and it started from sort of a narcissistic place, right? Where really a non-trusting place where you would have a very small circle of friends and you would let people in on sort of a one-on-one basis. That's why social media started. And the reason I give you so much background in it is because you must understand that when you have a medium that has started in a place where there's no trust, then the last thing in the world that you want to do as a marketer is go in and break that trust, right? Everybody's trust sensors are on hypersensitive in social media. Anything that you would tolerate on television and anything else, and other things, those approaches don't work. We don't tolerate it. We don't tolerate it. And marketers, either they don't understand why social media is a thing, or they just don't frickin' care. But the bottom line is if you're going to be good at it, you need to understand the two letters in media that are capitalized. Media. Now, I tell all my clients that are going to devise a wonderful strategy on social media, I say, you need like 5 cups of caution to every cup of marketing you're going to try to put in social media. You need to understand that you're in a minefield. You're in a minefield, and every step could blow you to hell, to be quite honest. So be very, very careful. I'm going to read you an email that I got today from a company that didn't think enough to address me by name, by the way. Hi, comma, and no name. Always starting off strong. You won't believe how much money Robertson Com is losing by not taking social media seriously. I'm sure I would believe it. Companies who use social media effectively have been shown to increase revenue by 20 to 160%. Well, excellent. Both through new sales and especially repeat business. If increased sales is what you'd like, simply reply here and I'll have my social media analysts quickly get in touch with you, whoever you are, because you didn't think to address me by name. And my name is easy to find because I'm CEO of the company. My name's out there. I have a podcast that shows up, just so you know. So my name's really easy to find. If you put just a tiny bit of effort in finding me, you'd find my name. And then you'd be able to address me by name. And then I wouldn't be making fun of you on my radio show. There's all kinds of emails like this. And people go, oh my God, revenues of 20, I can increase my revenue by 20 to 160%. And all I have to do is just have a social media analyst look at my friend feed and send out sponsored posts on my behalf and kind of do this. No, you shouldn't do that. I will use my cocktail party analogy just one more time, just so you know. I designed my Facebook feed exactly for me. I let in exactly who I want, and if somebody screws up, they're gone in a nanosecond. I control it. I don't have to ask permission for anybody, and all of you are the same way. So it's really important to know that. So it's exactly like let's say my son just graduated from high school. Let's say I have a bunch of people over to celebrate the graduation from high school. It's awesome, right? Woo, yeah, Zach, we're excited. And then somebody comes in, and in the middle of it, they set up a table and they start selling, jewelry or, I don't care what. They start selling something in the middle of the party. All of those looks that you're getting during the party are the exact same looks that your brand gets on social media when it steps in with a sponsored post where it's not wanted, especially if it's a post that is just kind of garbage selling, not thought out and not about the audience at all. Really, really important that everybody understands this. Now, today is National Donut Day. Did you know that? National Donut Day. That's a day. Hey, you know what? I love donuts. Bring it on. Dunkin' Donuts has done something really interesting today that you should know. Do you know what Kik is? So Kik is basically a chat network, kind of similar to Snapchat, right? And And Kik is kind of one of the newer ones that, the kids are on Kik. What can I tell you? On National Donut Day, Dunkin' Donuts is sponsoring the first branded face filter on Kik. And they have a sponsored Snapchat lens where you can take a picture of yourself, your favorite subject on social media, by the way, and you can make it into a donut. And then you can share it, and it's goofy, and people have donut faces and all kinds of stuff. Awesome. Why? Why is it awesome? Because people are into what is the most exciting thing about social media for them? Themselves, right? And then you make it about them. You allow them to take a picture of their face, which they love, clearly, and then put a donut on it, and that's your thing. And then say, oh, it's National Donut Day. And the subtle message is, hey, it's National Donut Day. Let's everybody go eat donuts, donuts, right? And the news media will cover something like National Donut Day, ad nauseum. So that's a good way to use social media. That's a good way to use Kik. It's a great. They got a little bit of a bump in the marketing press because they're the first ones to use Kik with a branded face filter. Now, see, you can get behind that, right? That is somebody that has thought things through. That's somebody that understands what social media is. Very strong. Snapchat, same thing. And for its first sponsored lens, Dunkin's using an augmented reality technology to turn a user's face into a donut. Similar to the popular feature, it lets people spew rainbows. The donut lens will show a stream of sprinkles going into their mouth when they open it. If you're on Snapchat, check out the little sponsored lens thing. I checked it out earlier today. It's goofy, but so is everything on Snapchat. You reach a certain age and you're like, really? But hey, what am I saying? Well, what are you going to do? So anyway, that's one way to certainly do it right. It's really, really important that people. The reason that Dunkin' Donuts got it right, and this is what you should put. You should make sure your filter, is tuned to this. Is they understand how people are using the technology. People like to take pictures of their own face. They like to share it with all kinds of puppy faces and dragon faces and all kinds of other, stuff on it, whatever. But fundamentally, it's just a magic mirror. Mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? Me, and then I want to make sure that all of my friends say that as well. And, Scott, you look so good. What a great picture, you and your son who just graduated high school. Isn't that great? Oh, we like it. We like this. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. You know what? I struggled for 13 years to get this kid through school. Absolutely. I want the accolades, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And that's why you listen, folks. Truth like that. We're talking about social business here on May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back, and we are going to talk about who's winning and who is losing.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EnterTalkRadio.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, it's Scott. You are tuned back with the May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. We are digging into social business today, right and left. A lot of fun. Paul B's in the studio. How's it going, Paul?
Pretty good.
Excellent. Well, let's dig right into winning and losing, shall we? We got a whole bunch of people to talk about. So, he broke me. Kathy Griffin says that Donald Trump broke her. Today, a defiant and tearful Kathy Griffin said she regretted making a photo of herself holding a mask that looked like President Trump's bloody severed head, but she wasn't going to stop criticizing the president or fighting for others to do so. The comments were the fast-talking comedian's first beyond a video-recorded apology on social media. So, here's what she said. She said, a sitting president of the United States and his grown children and the first lady are personally trying to ruin my life forever. You guys know him. He's not going to stop. Oh, man. You ever have one of those friends that apologizes for something, but then it still freaking ends up being your fault? It's like they apologize for something horrific that they did, but for some reason, it's still your fault.
I'm sorry. Sorry, you're such a jerk.
I'm sorry. You're such an a-hole. Anyway, it's now politics aside, in which I don't necessarily get into politics on this show, but here's the thing: from a marketing communications standpoint, shut up. Seriously, that is, you're not helping yourself in any way, shape, or form. Threatening the life of a sitting U.S. president is treasonous, and they can lock you up in a hole and not give you a trial, and they can put you in a hole for a long time for it, just for a threat of it. It's very serious. Assassinating the president, it doesn't get much bigger than that in this country, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't care whether you disagree with them or not. That's over the line. That's completely over the line. And then when you apologize, but then use the apology to kind of play the victim and say, well, I was really justified this whole time. Shut up. Shut up. Honest to God. From a professional communications, person to you, Kathy Griffin, shut up and go be funny somewhere. Of doing a press conference to act like you're the victim in some way and the president is, you are a speck that is completely insignificant in the minds and hearts and lives of people who are actually trying to run issues and run this country. So don't try to elevate yourself and say that his family couldn't care less about you. They could buy and sell you, to be honest. They couldn't care less about most people, to be honest, either. So it was a snowball of stupidity. A stupid choice, a bad apology, now a press conference that I was really, I'm really sorry, but now I'm a victim and they're trying to ruin my career. It's like, no, you ruined your career because you did something stupid, and people in corporate America and other people weren't willing to back you and weren't willing to, stick with you through all the backlash of all the people that you, alienated. One thing that you guys have to understand is that, do you guys remember the map of the United States on Election Day? It was pretty red, right? It was pretty red. I saw blue on the corners and on the edges, but the rest of the map for the United States of America was red. So, regardless of what everybody thinks, that's not smart. That doesn't make any sense. And it's just not, and the apology was just stupid. So we're going to put that in firmly in losing, and she needs to go try to be funny somewhere for her audience. As I mentioned, you guys got to get excited because it is National Donut Day. And check this out. So Oreo, which makes every flavor of Oreo under the sun these days, now they are making jelly donut Oreos, which they are going to they're just going to be sold in a limited edition. They're going to be sold at Walmart exclusively starting on Friday. So you can go get your jelly donut Oreos on Friday. I can't imagine why you would have that. But I guess if you just really want to, if you really want a jelly donut, it's National Donut Day. Go get it. Their donut shops are probably easier to find than your local Walmart to get that jelly donut Oreo cookie. But anyway, I thought it was pretty clever because they used the National Donut Day to launch their new flavor. They were able to get some pops. They got on Fox, and they got a couple of press things going on for that today. So anyway, we're going to put them in winning because that was a clever use of National Donut Day, especially for a company like Walmart who sells probably all kinds of donuts. But it's just smart for Oreo and for Walmart to get together on that. Hey, we're all going to be winning soon in California because they are getting ready to vote and end daylight savings time. Straight up, Assembly Bill 807, which was authored by Assemblyman Kansan Chu from San Jose. It would ask statewide voters to repeal the 1949 initiative, which established daylight savings time in California. And baby, this sucker passed with a 48-6 vote. And now it moves to the Senate. If the bill passes, it will repeat the California's 67-year-old Daylight Savings Time Act, and then lawmakers will decide whether to keep California on standard time or stay on Daylight Savings Time year-round with the approval of the federal government. So anybody that hates Daylight Savings Time,
man.
You're in.
This is music to my ears.
You're in. Paul's like,
this is the best news I've heard in a long time. I love it.
It is sort of it is nice that we can look at our outdated policies that are 47 years old, that are based in sort of a different era of time, and say, does this still make sense? Could we, as a society, not do this? Would that be cool? I like the idea that we can kill things that, and we can examine things and possibly kill things that don't make any damn sense here in 2017.
So this would be just in California, so people in other time zones would not only have to keep track of how many hours apart we are, but whether or not you have to adjust it, or because they'll be adjusted for daylight saving. It's going to make it confusing for other people, but screw them.
How California goes, so goes the world. So what you're going to see is California will adopt it, and then everybody will adopt it. This
Californication, baby.
There you go. This will be the first step on destroying daylight savings time forever. Across the greater states.
Good riddance.
Yes, good riddance. Assembly Bill 807. So finally, and got to say in Sacramento doing something for the people. Got to say, I've been waiting for it for a long time. We're going to put that in winning because daylight savings time doesn't make any sense. Hey, here's one for you. Did you know that internet traffic generated from bots surpassed human-generated traffic in 2016? So the global traffic generated from bots, machines talking to other machines, asking what's going on, when's your next tune-up, that sort of thing, surpassed human-generated internet traffic last year. Interesting, right? So when all these people that get up, these digital marketers that get up and talk about internet traffic, do you ever get the feeling that I didn't know there was that many people using the internet all the time? That's because they aren't. There are software programs called bots that are created by people to visit other websites, to close down other websites, to generate traffic numbers for other websites, to do all kinds of shady and freaky things in the dark web era. But I think you should know the fact that I think it's just interesting for us to keep in mind that internet traffic from the machines has surpassed our own human-generated traffic. And I put that in losing. That's going to be firmly in losing, and also just, hey, good to know if for your next meeting, the next person, somebody gets up and starts talking about all their internet traffic. And you can sound really intelligent and say, are we sure those are people? And honestly, they're not sure if they're people or not. Gotta say. Hey, did you know that the top 20% of Americans are hoarding the American dream? So true. From a story in NPR this week, there is a hidden force shaping our politics, says author Richard Reeves from the Brookings Institution. In his forthcoming books, Dream Hoarders, which is not Dream Warriors. That was the Freddy Krueger movie with the awesome Dawkins soundtrack. You know that? Dream in My Dreams? Oh, yeah. You remember it. You remember. Not the best movie. Got to say, Dream Warriors was not the strongest Freddy Krueger movie. I think there was like 10 of those movies, but the first one was really good. Second one was a little bit better. This one I think was 4 or 5 maybe, but that was Dream Warriors. But anyway, I digress. The book Dream Hoarders argues that the top 20% of Americans, those with six-figure incomes and above, dominate the best schools, live in the best located homes, and pass on the best futures to their kids. They are members of the American upper middle class who, through various ways of rigging the market, are essentially hoarding the American dream. Well, hoarding the American dream has been going on there, Mr. Guy from Britain, ever since the beginning of, let's just call it humanity. So in your lovely country, you may or may not be surprised at the fact that you got your share of dream hoarders hanging out over there too, Tiger. They used to build the castles up on the hill, right? And then everybody worked for all the people who lived in the castles. They'd get the best piece of land. They'd build the castle. They'd enslave you if you were in debt, that kind of thing. And then over the years, the land sort of leveled out. But now you still kind of have a castle where your royal family's hanging out. And, I guarantee that this is not an American thing. This is a human thing, right? We are all about ourselves and improving our own situations. And people that say they aren't, either aren't in touch with it or don't want to admit to you that that's what's going on with them. That's just a biologic, imperative. It's just that's how we're built. That's our hardware and that's our software. So, but the American dream, to say that's the American dream, say, I'm going to put this in, I think this is in losing, because you have somebody from outside the United States basically sort of criticizing the United States for what is essentially a human behavior that we can trace back into the Middle East, into China, into any empire-building type of operation. From the very first time that mankind had a cave, there was some dude on a higher hill that had a better cave with, better Wi-Fi. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying, it's a human thing. It's not a United States thing. And the American dream actually, to me, I think that's somebody that doesn't really understand the American dream. The American dream is that a kid can be, that you can be born at any societal level here in this country. And if you work hard enough, and that's the key phrase that should be in quotes, if you work hard enough, that you can ascend to any level that you want to ascend to. And I do believe that's true, by the way. I believe the American dream is alive and well. I think I think we get into trouble when we start asking Big Daddy government to be our mommy and daddy and help us achieve the American dream. That's not part of the American dream. That's the American, let's create a big fat bureaucracy infrastructure to take responsibility for our problems when we're no longer able to take responsibility for them ourselves. And that's unhealthy, in my opinion. So, but the American dream is alive and well. And this book, Dream Hoarders, like I said, I respectfully disagree with that opinion. And I think while he says the top 20% of the Americans hoard the American dream, I don't think the American dream is something that can be hoarded. It is something that's more, ethereal than that. We're going to put that in losing because we just don't like that guy now. That's what I'm just talking about. Hey, winning, or possibly losing, the world's largest airplane left its hangar for the first time. The aeronautics company from Strato Launch, which is founded by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen, provide the first look this week at the world's largest airplane based on wingspan. So this airplane from Strato Launch, man, this thing is a freak of nature if you haven't seen it. Make sure you check it out. It weighs 500,000 pounds, and it rests on 28 wheels, and it basically looks like two really large planes with a wing in between them, sharing, 6 massive jet engines. And this plane is really, really large. I put this firmly in the losing category, and here's why. I put it in the losing category because it's like, why I don't understand why this is being done. Planes are pretty big as they are. We have large cargo planes. We have large planes. Is there somebody out there really that says, what we should do is if we made a plane that was just much, much larger, then we could what? We could what that you can't do now? That's what I don't quite understand. Other than the fact of just what they say. They said they're going to. Allen founded the company to make the part of the plan to make travel to low Earth orbit more accessible. And so I don't get why you have this. Why do you have to have this giant plane to go to do low Earth orbit? I don't know. This doesn't make sense to me. The whole story doesn't make sense. That's why we're going to put it in losing. Hey, e-commerce might be losing. It might be losing some of its luster. The mattress store Casper, which became really famous on the East Coast, with sort of its zany brand and the fact that it was able to, instead of sell mattresses, traditionally in a store where you go lay down on them and stuff, they would deliver them through the mail. You kind of heard of Casper probably, and if there's a few other copycats, those kind of people. But they call it a tech startup. The tech startup Casper is now going to launch in Target stores. Now, you can't buy the mattress in Target stores, even though it does come in a box that you probably could lug out of Target, to be honest. You could probably fit that in a cart, I'm guessing. But they're going to do sheets, pillows, a few other things like that. And then you're going to be able to buy the mattresses online there. So, but what's interesting about the story is the fact that they launched without showrooms, without physical, and they were held up as this great example of this tremendously successful company that did things differently at retail. In essence, they had pop-up stores in Santa Monica. You've probably heard some of the stories they had. They had a lot of kind of cool things. But now they're sort of coming back to earth and realizing if they want to sell a lot of these things, that they need to figure out where retail is really getting done. And there was an very interesting analyst quote, I thought, in the story. And let's see if I can find it. Let's see. Companies recognize the vast majority of retail is still happening in physical spaces, said Brendan Witcher from Forrester. And to his point, despite the appeal of e-commerce, the story says Forrester data shows that around 90% of retail sales are still transacted in brick and mortar stores. Now, don't forget, when we say retail sales, we're also talking about groceries and stuff like that, right? So most people still aren't getting their groceries delivered by Amazon.com. Consumers having the ability to touch, taste, and feel the product before purchasing it is still really important, according to this Forrester research. I think that's really interesting. And if you're doing a lot of e-commerce stuff, you should realize that that there needs to probably be a physical manifestation of your strategy at some point. It's really, really important. So, I would encourage you to check out that story. It's on Inc.com this week, and it's all about Casper. But in particular, the data. There's several studies that are cited in there, from Forrester and stuff that will help you understand a little bit better why the physical space part is so very, very important in that kind of a story. So anyway, that's who's winning and losing this week. Come on back. I'm going to give you a few social business tips so you don't step in it in social media. See you in a few minutes.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EnterTalkRadio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. You are so wisely back to segment 3 here on May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott. We just talked about winning and losing in the last segment. Give Paul an opportunity to pop in here. And what'd you like this week, Paul? What'd you like besides Daylight Savings Time? That was a good one.
Definitely like the Daylight Savings. Every week you find a new way to freak me out about, the inching of AI taking over the world.
Oh, God. I know, it's scary.
With the web traffic. And because this is, you got to figure this is an inflection point that's never ever going to go back. It's just gonna the spread is gonna just get bigger and bigger. I'm sure. Where automated traffic is just going to keep growing and growing and growing until human traffic's probably like 1% of everything that's going on the web.
Yeah, and you have to realize there must be people out there that are designing bots to boost traffic, and you're kind of like, who's that for? Who does that help? I mean, I don't understand it at all. But maybe I'll try to find some techie person I can bring on the show, and we'll ask the question. 20
years from now, when we're all battling robots Terminator style, going through rubble, I'll remember this all. I remember when this all hit the point of no turning back. I remember it was National Donut Day, 2017. This is where it all went wrong.
You have to go back to National Donut Day. You have to go there. What you have to do, come with me if you want to live. You have to stop the jelly donut Oreos from being sold at Walmart. Do it. And do it now. I like it. Well, that's who's winning and losing. So let's talk about, let's make this all about you. It's social media after all.
Oops, looks like we lost Scott for a minute. Wow. Scott, you're back. This happened last week too. You remember, as soon as we started bad-mouthing the AI, your connection got interrupted? The same thing.
Same thing. I tell you what, they're listening. They're listening. The bots are listening.
I think we need to start being a little bit more respectful to our machine overlords going forward. This is not going to end well for us.
Good bots. We like bots. Bots are good. Today on Winning and Losing, bots. Winning bots. All right, cool. Well, let's give you a few tips before I get cut off again by the bots. Let's see. All right, so tip number 1, have a plan. Have this is your social business tips, by the way, because we talked about social media not really being about, it wasn't created as a business platform. Besides LinkedIn, LinkedIn is definitely a business platform, but I'm talking about your more consumer social media, your Snapchat, your Kik, your Facebook, your Twitter, your folks things like that, So, what I always tell clients, lots of caution, have a plan that social media fits into. I know a lot of firms that just do social media, and my first question to them is, I'm like, well, where's the rest of the marketing plan? Because it can't just be you. I mean, if it is, then, it's going to be weighed way too much in social, and where's the rest of the plan? Where's everything else? That's the thing. Social media is a tactic. It is not a tactic, is not a plan. So have a plan and a strategy that social media fits into. This is what we're doing for social, a strategy. Know your role on social. Understand the fact that you're always, it's always going to be about them, right? Social media is always about them. Now, I really can't say that too much. People say, Scott, you say that a lot. I'm like, would you like me to show you? Would you like me to show you the posts on my feed that desperately need to hear this message? desperately need to hear it, because they're ticking me off. They're ticking everybody off that they're sending that garbage out to. You know, you're not helping anybody. And some people, I was on a digital panel a few weeks ago with some digital marketers, and they said, well, you have to be out there and you have to post at least once a day or people are going to forget about you. I just raised my hand and I was like, I'm sorry, but where the hell do you get that from? If you post on my feed every day, you're gone. You're gone. You're gone by day 3, you know, because you are not interesting enough to interrupt my feed where people are talking about how smart I am and how funny I am and how good looking I am. That's what I want, right? That's what I want. I want people liking the picture I took with my son yesterday at his high school graduation. And if you dare to drop your stupid commercial marketing message in between the likes of my feed, then you're gone. And I'm gonna hit unfollow, unlike, goodbye, hit the road. Know your role. Understand that you're in a minefield and you weren't invited in. You weren't invited. Dunkin' Donuts today on Dunkin' Donut Day, they found a way to get invited in. How'd they do it? Made it about the people, right? You already love to take pictures of your own face, but, you know, let's face it, you've taken thousands of photos of your own face by now, and you know what you look like, and, you know, I'm sure that outfit is cute, but the bottom line is, you know, how do we do that? Let's do it with a donut. Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, yeah, great. It's National Donut Day, too. Boom, boom. Beautiful. Beautiful use of social media. Exactly what you want to do. Exactly what you want to do is that. I couldn't be any happier, you know, to endorse that, because it's just, psychologically speaking, it's absolutely on point. It's absolutely perfect. Tip number 2, don't sell anything, ever. Don't ever, ever come across as you're trying to sell something. You know, did Dunkin' Donuts, let's just go back to our Dunkin' Donut example. Do you think they sold some donuts with the thing? Probably. But the bottom line is, you know, we wanted those donuts anyway. And we were just reminded and sort of given permission and an excuse of it's National Donut Day? Well, then, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Let's go get us a donut. That's what I'm talking about. And that's how the human mind works right there. It is that simple. You use the consumer's sort of energy against them, like the jujitsu of marketing, to be quite honest. They already wanted the donuts. You just give them permission. You give them permission. You set it up. You give them a mental image of their face as a donut, and I'll bet you any amount of money that some people stopped off at Dunkin' Donuts today and they got that donut. They wanted that donut anyway. You just had to kind of make it okay for them to get it. Very, very important. Again, and I don't think I can say it enough times, that social media is all about them, so make it about them. The more that you make it about them, the greater success that you're going to have. The greatest thing that marketing companies want to do is talk about themselves. You know, they want to say, well, we're this and we're that and we're blah, blah, and we're this. You know what mistake that I fix constantly since I opened this firm for 5.5 years? I fix that mistake. That single thing I fix. I go in and I say, hey, how about we don't make this about you? Well, what do you mean? We're here to talk. I said, what if what if it wasn't about you? What if it was about, I don't know, the audience? Well, what if we made it about them? What do you think we could do then? The answer to that question is, we're going to be 1 billion times more successful. 1 billion times more successful. Honestly, it's so hard for us to do. It's uncomfortable for us to do. It's uncomfortable. I've had these conversations with folks where they're just like, well, it just doesn't feel right, or this message just doesn't feel like we're giving them enough information. They don't care about you. They only care about themselves. People. That's all they care about. That's all any of us care about. You know, it seems simple. It's all around you. You know, that is the truth right there. So learn it, listen to it, be that, and you'll be a great deal more successful. So I'm saying, tip number 3, man, when we're talking about social business, everybody always wants to talk about talking. How we talk? How do we post? How do we do this? How do we measure? How do we sell? How we listen. Tip number 3 is listen. Use social media to listen to your customer. I know it's not as sexy. I understand that listening is not as fun. You have to sit there and you have to pretend to be interested. When actually what you want to do is talk about yourself. Believe me, I know. But do it. Listen. Social media, you can learn so much. People don't even know how much information they're giving you. And I don't even mean the creepy. I'm not even in the creepy land of information they're giving you without their knowledge. I mean, people will just start talking about brands, and if you know how to listen. And when I say, people ask me that a lot, they say, "What do you mean by listening on social media?" Set up searches in your social networks where you can search by hashtag, you can search by topic area, you can search. Email me. I'll show you how to do it. It's very easy. Just a few step process. Set up searches. Watch them closely. Watch what people are saying. If you're a part of an organization and you're doing social media, somebody should definitely be listening anyway, just to make sure that there is not. Maybe there's a customer service issue that we can deal with. Maybe there is somebody who's really bad mouthing us, out there on Kick. But we're not on Kick yet, so we don't know. But maybe there's a whole group of people who are saying, "Yeah, I know. I went to that. I went to that pizza place and I got sick and I had diarrhea for a week too." Yeah, that kind of thing. Boom, boom, boom. But if you're not on Kick, then you don't know. So no, listen. Very, very important. As I've said before in my social media shows, as part of that plan, you're going to decide which channels are going to be appropriate for your audiences. But once you've decided on those channels, make sure that you're using those to listen. And you always want to, just like in a regular human conversation, you always want to listen much more than you talk. It's really, really important to do that. And I cannot tell you how many times I've looked at social media strategies and they're all about posting, sharing, curating content. And I ask this question: where's the listening? Where's the part where we shut up and listen to the customer? Is that part on the plan? Because if it's not, then you probably aren't doing communications. What you're doing is, you're just jabbering. You're just like Kathy Griffin at the press conference. Blah, 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 blah. Not interesting, right? They're interested in themselves, so listen to them. And you can be really, really great at that stuff. Tip number 4, be creative. Be creative. Social media is looked at by companies, PR companies look at social media as usually as kind of an amplifier. And that's not wrong, by the way. Because, if you get a great article, let's say one of my clients gets a great review in Electronic Musician magazine, then yeah, it's totally appropriate for the company on their feed to say, "Hey, did you see Electronic Musician reviewed our app? They reviewed our product and they gave us, a really nice review. They had a couple of really nice things to say. What do you think?" Or if you can ask people what they think, that's always kind of nice too. But it's good and appropriate for you to share those kind of things, on your social channels. But it's not just an amplifier, right? I see a few car dealerships that do this. A buddy of mine back in Missouri bought a car, and I saw that I thought this was really smart of the auto dealership guy. The auto dealer that sold him the car posts a picture on his feed or his business feed of them, the happy car owners, with their car. He tags them. Why do you tag them? Because so that their friends will see it and then talk about, "Hey, what a great car, what a great car, what a great car," right? You don't ask the client you don't ask the customer to go and do that, right? You have their social information already, and then you ask permission and get consent and all those kind of things. And then you tag them, and then you get something that's really, really cool, which is lots of people. If you're this car salesman, and that's a small business, right? That's a small business in a small town in Missouri, that kind of thing, but very effective, right? Because it basically shows this. He gives the customer the opportunity to say what a great experience they had to their friends on something that, now why does it work? It works because those people are interested in my friend's new car. They're all his friends. They want to see what he's driving. Hey, congratulations. Oh, you got a new car. Well, that's awesome. That's great. You're interested in people saying that because your feed is all about you and your own sort of stuff. So, of course, you are extremely interested in the fact that people are going to be liking the fact that you have a new car. You know, I mean, that's just how it works, folks. So, really good. That was a good creative approach. And it wasn't like as good as, Dunkin' Donuts, kick filter or Snapchat lens and that kind of thing on that same level of that kind of creativity. But it was what he could do. It was real. It was truthful. It was right on the money. And then I guarantee you people in that area will see that and say, instead of them saying 50, 60, 70% off at the dealership this week, you could be driving. That's not personal. That's easy. That's just garbage. That's just advertising. That's just noise. If you want to do real marketing, you're connecting with people. You're making them feel something. And what did you make people feel? You made them feel, oh, okay, well, I raised awareness of my service level. I raised awareness of my dealership. I raised awareness that we do this. I raised awareness of a happy customer in their lives who they trust, who they might ask who's a good auto dealer anyway. All the boxes are being checked, right? All the boxes are being checked right and left. Really, really important. So you can be creative and it doesn't have to be like a, multi-million-dollar new feature that you're launching like Dunkin' Donuts did or anything like that. You can just be creative by just using the old brain a little bit and thinking about people before you decide to and just blurt it all out everywhere. So tip number 5, stay ahead of the new stuff, man. Social media changes like the waves in the ocean. So we talk about it a lot on this show. If Instagram's appropriate channel for you, stay close to Instagram, stay close to Snapchat. Kik, we talked about on this show, Kik on this show. Skype just created a bunch of new stuff. Skype, which we didn't get a chance to talk about on this show, but Skype is, adding some kind of Snapchatty and Instagrammy kind of features where you can do layouts and stuff like that of photos. I don't know if people are asking for that or not, but, maybe we talk about that next week. What have we learned today? In marketing, you can do, just like in building airplanes, you can do anything, but should you? That is always the question. When you are dealing with social media, it is critically important that you use this filter. What should we be doing? Not what can we do? Not how many posts. If we post once a day, good Lord, man, that person should be hit. Social networks were not created as a marketing device. You need to know that your messages aren't really welcome. With that in mind, how do we earn that place in the feed? How do we make it all about them? Use it and build. How do we use it to build and strengthen the brand relationship? Start with empathy and consideration for your audience, and you will always be okay. That's it for me, marketing fans. Until next week, this has been Scott Robertson, host of May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon. You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?